Hey guys, my name is Alicia, and if you don't know who I am, I usually make thrifting videos, but if you could see from the title and the background, I have officially moved. So yes, I have moved to Toronto. Moving to Toronto has been something I've wanted to do for such a long time, like honestly, since I was really young, like I just always knew I wanted to live here. And this year I just finally felt like it was the right time for me, so I bit the bullet and here I am. So in this video, I'm gonna be taking you guys along with me to view a couple different types of apartments and eventually move in. So me and Matt began our moving journey very early on in the year, where we kind of just doing our research, figuring out what kind of place we wanted to live in that would meet our needs. So let's talk a little bit about the non-negotiables of what we really needed in our place. So because both of us work from home, it was pretty important for us to find a 2-bedroom apartment. That way we could just have our separate workspaces, and since we'd be home so much, we just really needed our separate spaces. So although originally we were looking at 1-bedrooms, we just realized 2-bedroom was kind of a must for us. We also didn't particularly want to live in a condo. Condos definitely have their perks. They're usually more clean and modern looking, but condos also just tend to be a lot more expensive. They usually don't have rent control for the newer buildings, and they're usually a lot smaller of a space considering what you're paying for them. I also wasn't totally excited about the idea of having to constantly be riding the elevator. And I'm gonna be honest, just the cookie cutter styles of condos, I wasn't really interested in. I just wanted a space with a little bit more character. So early on, we realized condo wasn't really for us. So we kind of pivoted into a different direction for housing, where we were kind of looking at more lower rise apartments or old houses that have been converted into multiplexes, which is honestly really, really common here in Toronto. So once we kind of figured out that we wanted a 2-bedroom apartment, some other factors that were really important for us were, for one, having laundry, whether that was in unit or on site. As you guys know, I run a secondhand clothing business, so I'm constantly doing laundry, and it would be very, very difficult for me to live without a laundry machine. The second thing that was really important to us was having a bathtub. Matt loves taking baths, so it was very important for him to be able to continue that in this new place. Having AC was also pretty important to us because, like I said, we would be spending 90% of our time here. We were working here, so we need a comfortable environment. As for the area in Toronto that we wanted to live in, we were honestly pretty open to living pretty much everywhere. I just didn't particularly want to live too north. North York was a little bit far for me, but I also preferred staying more on the West End because, for one, it is closer towards my hometown, which I know I'll be visiting pretty often. It's also where most of my friends live, so I'd prefer to be closer proximity to them, of course. And if you guys know Toronto, the West End, Queen West, is where all the cool vintage shops are, and it's just definitely more of my vibe. So I was kind of keeping that in mind while I was searching for places. So with all that, and based on the current rental market here in Toronto, we kind of set our budget to around $2,400 plus utilities, which, if you're not from Toronto, probably sounds absolutely insane, because it is, but that's actually pretty normal here, and it's honestly on the cheaper end of things. So when we started our hunt, we were on a few different websites rentals.ca we were looking at a lot, but eventually I was pretty much just exclusively checking Facebook Marketplace. I just personally find it really easy to use, and overall it kind of seemed like the prices tended to be a little bit lower there. So I was checking Facebook Marketplace for places pretty much every day because, if you don't know, the Toronto rental market is pretty hot. So when you see a place you like, you have to hop on it because things move very quickly. So that is exactly what we did, and we ended up seeing 3 different places. The first place that we went to visit was located kind of right in the middle of the city. It was right beside the University of Toronto, if you know that area, and was one of these classic, renovated Toronto homes, with the unit being on the 2nd floor. And I'm pretty sure it was $2,500 all inclusive for a 2-bed, 1-bath with laundry on site. So this was the first place we went to see, so we were very, very excited, but turns out when we arrived there, the landlord actually forgot to bring the key. So we had to wait an hour for her to go drive back and pick that up. So in the meantime, we decided to kind of just explore the area, grab lunch. We ended up eating at this pizza place that was so good, probably some of the best pizza I had ever had, which makes sense because later we found out it was kind of TikTok famous. So we had a lot of time to kind of take in the area and really think about it. And we were honestly kind of hyping this place up because from the outside, the house was very, very gorgeous. So we were a little disappointed when eventually the landlord came back and we were let into the unit. So as soon as you walked in, directly to to the right of you was the living room space, which was already quite small. But as you can see, the fridge kind of took up the living room space because on the other side of that room was the kitchen. So I didn't really love the fact that, you know, the kitchen and living space were kind of just like a combined room. And the kitchen didn't even have a full-size oven, which was honestly kind of an immediate deal breaker for Matt because he loves to cook, so that just wasn't really gonna work for us. Next, we headed into the bedrooms. They had these beautiful, super high ceilings that helped make the space feel a little bit bigger considering they were quite small. They had beautiful wood floors and then a small little closet. Bedroom number 2 was pretty similar in size, this time with an extra window so it let in a little bit more light. Once again with that closet, but overall pretty small. Lastly, we checked out the bathroom, which had some pretty nice like updated finishes. It did have that bathtub which we were looking for, but unfortunately it couldn't really make up for the rest of the place. So overall, I think this place was just a little bit too small for us. We were under the impression that it would kind of take up the whole second floor, but there were actually 3 separate units on the second floor, so it was kind of like crammed to the back. It honestly felt more like a dorm, which makes sense because it was like right beside the university. So a great space for students, but unfortunately just not for us. Next on the list was another triplex type style home, this time located near High Park. This one was $2,550 per month plus utilities, so quite steep considering it was located in the basement of the house. Now, I didn't particularly want to live in a basement, but I was open to it because there are some basements that kind of have a really big walk down, allowing like full-size windows so it lets in a little bit more light and doesn't quite feel like a basement. And that was kind of what this one was advertised as. So as you can see, that was the entrance that we had just come through, and it walks right into the kitchen, which as you can see is a little bit dated. The kitchen did have a window that was slightly bigger than your typical basement windows, but it wasn't really quite what I imagined. And then once again, the kitchen and the living room were a combined space. The living area was quite small. There just wasn't a whole lot of space. So then we entered the first bedroom. Once again, pretty big windows for a basement. The bedroom overall wasn't huge, but there was a nice big like sliding door closet. The second bedroom was unfortunately even smaller and didn't have any windows, which is kind of downside. And then as you can see, once again, that nice big sliding door closet. We checked out the bathroom, which once again actually had some nice updated finishes. It was actually nice and clean. Had the bathtub once again, which was a bonus. And the unit also had this really big storage closet, which was definitely intriguing to me considering I have a lot of inventory that I need to store. And then lastly, we checked out the shared laundry, which I didn't have a problem with, except that it was just behind one of the bedroom doors and it was shared with other units. So I don't know, that just like didn't sit right with me. I felt a little bit uncomfortable with that because it was just kind of like a regular bedroom door, not like a deadbolt type front kind of door. So overall this place was okay, but honestly I could just not picture myself living there, and I think it was overpriced. I think they really overpriced it just because of the location. So unfortunately, this just wasn't the place for us. So we had one more place to check out, this time more located in the St. Clair West area. Once again, this sort of like triplex style house with the unit located on the main floor. And this one was listed for $2,450 plus hydro. So walking right in, it had this big, beautiful kitchen with full-size appliances, full-size fridge, full-size stove, lots of storage. This right here was the entryway with the door that we had just come through. And then through this door was the first bedroom, which is honestly pretty huge for a Toronto bedroom. It even had those super high ceilings throughout, which just made it feel even bigger. And this giant window in front, which just made the space feel so gorgeous, so beautiful. This was the second bedroom that was located right off of the kitchen. A little bit smaller, but still plenty of space. And this room did actually have a closet along with a nice tall window. Next was the living room. This was the only unit that we saw where the kitchen and living room were separate, which I definitely loved. And I'm sure the decor definitely helped, but it just felt like so homey. I love that there was even space for a little dining nook. We have another nice tall window. And then this door right here actually leads into the bathroom, which had a washer and dryer in unit, which was amazing, and even had the bathtub, which was very key, plus tons of storage. So that was amazing. Me and Matt instantly fell in love with the place. It just was the only one that like I could really imagine myself living there, and it felt like home. And I'm so happy to say that we ended up getting this place. So now that it was official, there were a few things that we needed for a place. So we did some thrifting, we did some IKEA runs, and of course, some Facebook Marketplace pickups. And before we knew it, it was move-in day. So I have actually never moved before in my entire life. So I just truly was not prepared for how long it would take for me to pack everything up and just how stressful the entire process was. But I did manage to empty out my loft in time with my amazing helpers. It was really bittersweet, honestly, to see my room empty like that, but I don't know, I feel like I was just so ready to get out of there. Like, honestly, like a few days leading up to the move, although I was still in the loft, I would just like jolt out of bed and like not recognize where I was. So I just feel like that was my body getting used to the idea and like telling me I was ready. So once we were done filling up the U-Haul with my stuff, it was time to head over to Matt's place. This was me riding down the elevator with our frog. I was so tired at this point, but we still had to make our way all the way into the city and unload. So this is what the place looked like once all of our stuff was moved in. I honestly cannot thank my friends and family enough for helping us out on this day. Like, could not have done it without them. And so grateful for my friend who filmed these clips for me. Like, this was me and Matt feeling a little bit delulu. Like, feeling like, what did we just get ourselves into? But I'm happy to report that we have been here for almost 3 weeks now, and it's honestly just been so perfect. I'm really surprised just how quickly it felt like home here. Like, I really thought there would be a bigger adjustment period, but I just feel so settled in. And we've just been spending the past few weeks unboxing everything and setting everything up and cleaning every square inch of this place. Let's just say it was not up to my standards. So I just wanted to give a huge thank you to Net Zero Co. for helping me out in that department. They're basically an environmental general store that sells eco-friendly products, and they kindly gifted me a ton of sustainable products to get me started, including some plastic-free dishwashing supplies, shampoo and conditioner bars, which I've been loving. Like, I think it's my new go-to shampoo now, along with their soap pouches, wool dryer balls, silicone baking set, reusable food bags, and even their dishwasher tablets. So I feel so good starting off this new chapter on the right foot with all of these zero waste essentials. So I highly recommend Net Zero Co. for all of your sustainable product needs. I will leave them linked below if you want to check them out. So I'm just feeling super lucky with how all of this played out, because I honestly just like couldn't be happier with this place. I feel like it just is so perfect. It meets all of our needs. It's exactly what we were looking for. And I'm so excited to explore the city and check out all the new thrift locations with you guys, which if you're just tuning into this video and into my channel for the first time, by the way, that's what we do around here. We're usually thrifting, so if that's something you're into, then you should definitely stick around and subscribe. And let me know if you guys want an apartment tour once we're all settled in and I get my room set up and stuff. It's pretty, like, it's still in progress, so let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. So I hope you enjoyed watching my whole moving process, and as always, I will see you guys next week.